Hi everybody, I'm Scott McGinnis and welcome to In Focus. It's been a little while since we saw each other, but we got a couple of topics to cover, so let's get started. As usual, we're going to start the show off with the world rankings that's compiled by Engen Terzi. Have a look at those. Those are the rankings compiled by Engen. I wonder when Devin's going to start pulling right-handed again. I also wonder what the plan is, or if there even is one, to get him back into the top 10 and ultimately back to the top. Personally, I would like to see Devin pull almost all, if not most of the guys in the top 10. That would make for some awesome arm wrestling. I would love to be able to see him work his way through the top 10 and ultimately back on the top. I think it could be some great matchups. Okay, now we're fresh off the 2013 WAF World Championships held in Poland, and for the first time in a long while, I was actually not in attendance. I did get a chance to tune in via the internet, and as I predicted, Igor and company put on a fantastic show, complete with a great stage, a live band, and big lights. It all looked great. But sometimes the cameras don't tell the whole story, so I sat down with master referee Rick Pinkney and got his thoughts on this year's Worlds. Here's that conversation. I'm going to here with In Focus. Sitting next to me, as you can see, is Rick Pinkney, CAWF head referee and member of the referees panel for the WAF. Rick, how you doing today?
Good, thanks Scott.
Thanks for joining us. You're back just a couple weeks off the Worlds. So how was it? I personally thought that the boys are going to put on a great show, yes?
You know what? That was probably the best Worlds ever.
Really good.
The show that they actually put on, you know, a live band playing, till we got in the finals, it was probably the best Worlds ever.
Okay, I tuned in on day one. As with everything, a big production like that, they had a few problems. All I really got to see was one table for most of day one. I did tune in for the semifinals and the finals. I thought it was great. The show was great. Just it kind of took a bit too long. Going down to one table at the semifinals and finals with all those classes, was it as long for you guys as it was for us watching?
It was worse.
Oh, really?
You know, as soon as they said they're going down to semifinals, I'm thinking, that's a lot of classes to go from semifinals on. That's a lot of matches. So, I mean, we were down to semifinals. I mean, we probably started around 9:30 in the morning. By like 2:30. We were
really?
Oh yeah, we blew right through everything. I mean, 9 tables filled all the time. We were cruising. So then we take a break, and we're starting.
So are they taking a break? They're taking a break like when Hassan hosted in Bulgaria. He took a break because he had live TV schedule.
Yeah.
Is this the same deal?
Yeah, they had supposedly they had a couple of different channels in Russia.
I heard a Russian national channel and a Ukrainian.
Okay,
is what I'd heard.
Yeah, so they said they were starting at 4 o'clock. So we had like an hour and a half break, and then all of a sudden it just went on and on. One table, semifinals with I don't know how many classes we got there on that day one, which is one of the longer. You know, day one, day two, there's a lot more classes than there is day 3 and 4. So
Well, you've got all those masters classes, all those junior classes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of arm wrestlers that you have to push through.
Disabled.
Oh, yes.
All
Not
that.
to forget the disabled. Yeah, for sure.
And so we didn't finish till 9:30 at night.
And you started at what time?
4 o'clock. That's just
Wow.
semifinals on. So it
that's-
took longer to do the semifinals to the end than it did to get down to the semifinals.
To get the whole tournament did pretty well.
Yeah.
So that's 5.5, pushing 6 hours.
That was a long day.
That's a really long day, but okay. So you get through the first couple of days. So they had no live band that I saw on day 1 or 2. Is that correct? I didn't see one anyway.
Okay, no, I think that was just day 3 and 4.
Okay, I didn't see
Yeah.
one. So I tuned in as much as I could on day 3 and 4, not as much. So the coverage was way better on day 3 and 4 than it was on day 1 or 2. So I assume whatever technical problems that they had with whatever. I know internet is always sketchy no matter where you go. So it was a better presentation on those days.
Yeah.
So let's get right to the really bad thing. So when you get down to the finals, they went one referee and then the video replay judges on the monitors. Huge mistake if you ask me, my personal opinion.
I
What'd
hated
you
it.
think?
Absolutely hated it.
Really?
It was, the worst thing is, as a referee standing up there, you're just left up there. It's almost like they threw you to the wolves because you're standing up there. They're telling you a call.
So how are they telling you a call?
I had earbuds on. So they're saying, you know, a foul. And I'm standing there waiting for them to tell me who the foul's on.
So hold it. So they're just telling you to stop the match because there's a foul.
Stop the match. So I yell stop. Then I've got to wait for foul. And that's what I get through my earbud. Foul. So then I'm going, so okay, on who? But I can't talk back to them. It's only a one-way.
Okay.
It's only a one-way communication. So I'm looking down. I'm like, tell me on who. I got to let people know who the foul's on.
Right.
So then they said the person on the right, which was, I think she was from Kazakhstan. She was pulling Heidi.
Heidi Anderson from Sweden?
Heidi Anderson,
Okay.
yeah. So I give the second foul on the girl from Kazakhstan. And she was on the A side. That's a loss. Well, then we're leaving, and then next thing you know, no, they made a mistake. The foul was supposed to be on Heidi.
Hold it. The girls are already gone from the table?
Girls are gone. I was gone. I mean, and another time it happened, almost identical, but we left the stage. Then they start watching the match in replay, which I totally disagree with. You can't go back and look at a match in replay. If there's a protest, fine, we'll look at a replay.
But you and I, we have worked on this for the past few years on how to try and make, because I think video cameras can be a great tool.
Oh yeah.
But for a video protest type of thing, having watched the finals and watched what you were going through, I thought it was terrible. If those referees have to watch a match 3 or 4 times in instant replay to make a call, then it's just not worth it.
No, I mean, you should be able to, I mean, it should be just the same as if it was live. You see the call, bang, okay. You know, if I'm a head referee and I get I'll get a thing, elbow foul on the person on the right. Okay, stop, elbow foul on the person on the right.
Yeah.
Set them up again. But this, where it's just you're standing there and waiting, and it seems like, and when you're up there, and you got everybody eyes on you, it just seems like you're standing there forever. It just, it probably wasn't as long as what it seemed.
No, you know what? Watching it, it was as long as you thought it was. Because we're sitting there and the commentators may have been telling us what's going on, but I don't speak Russian at all. My apologies. So I didn't understand what they were saying and what was happening.
Oh, so the feed you were getting was in Russian, was it?
Yeah, I wasn't. They were. You could hear Anders.
Okay.
In the background speaking English, but the commentating I was getting was in Russian.
Oh yeah, so that makes it even more. You're as bad as I was then up there, just.
Yeah, so I'm not really knowing what's going on and trying to look for signals or whatever. And then of course they may be playing a replay, so showing us a replay, so we're not seeing what messages you're getting and what's happening. So I don't know. In my opinion,
that wasn't even the worst one.
Oh,
Sorry
there
to
was
cut you off.
No, there was one worse than that.
We left the stage and they went back. It was Fia and Gabriella.
Okay.
Gabriella was from Brazil was on the A side and Fia was on the B side. Fia just flashed her. Winner, man, I thought, wow, that was crazy. You know, just because Gabriella was just cruising all day long.
Yeah.
So winner, walk off, and then all of a sudden, We were already gone off the stage. The next match was coming up when they looked over the thing and saw that Fia had elbow fouled. Some minuscule little elbow foul. So we'd already left the stage, and then they called them back up. So this looked really bad for the fact that this is the only time basically when, you know, the first person coming to the table doesn't have choice of tables because they want to put the pictures up behind the competitors.
Hold it.
Yep, rules get changed.
So they've just made that rule change that if my name's called first, I don't get my choice of side of the table?
No, the first and what they were doing was calling the B-side person first. B-side person was coming up, and that would always be on the left-hand side of the referee. The A-side person would come up next. They'd always be on the right-hand side of the referee. That way they had the pictures up behind them, so they're showing, as you're up the table, they're showing your picture, you know, with your name and where you're from, stuff like that. And but then when we got to Gabriella and Fia, where that all got buggered up, was the fact that it was still technically the same match.
Okay.
Although I wasn't back up there refereeing again, it was still the same match.
Hold it, but so now they got a different referee up there?
They got a different referee up there with Fia having one foul now, so which was wrong, and then they had the pictures mixed up as if Fia had already won the match. So the referee's up there, and I think Gabriella wanted the stand raise, so he puts a stand up for her. No, you got to switch sides. She's gonna put that one down. Put the other one up. No, that's wrong. And then they're going back. He put up and down those stands about 3 times.
Really?
It was brutal. Just, it was embarrassing. I wasn't at the table at that point, and I'm thinking, I'm so glad I'm not, because that was just brutal to watch.
We're going to rule ourselves to death here. This is not, I mean, first of all, I don't think, I know they're trying. Arm wrestling does not make a great live show.
No.
This is not the NFL, the NHL, the NBA, or, you know, a World Cup soccer. It does not make great television.
We're years away from that until we can have professional color commentators and be able to run those matches off, bang, 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 so people can explain what's going on. I mean, you could make it a live thing, but you need to have good color people there explaining exactly what's going on, telling people, educating people what's going on the whole time.
Not, you know what? Not for a Worlds, I don't think you could.
No, not
I think
for a
there's
Worlds.
Just, the volume is too big.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, for a vendetta type of thing that the PAL puts on, I think it can be done. I've actually watched some of the PAL vendettas that they had on pay-per-view, and it presents a pretty good product. Even still, there's too much time in between matches. You start to get bored. Look, 1 minute in between rounds of the UFC is too long for me. Let's get back to the fight, and that's 1 minute.
Yeah.
So that's okay. So number one, I don't think we're ready for a live. I think a live event. I think a really well produced, edited down version is something that should be presented for television.
For sure. Right now, until we can get
Neil
things.
Pickup is doing that.
And Neil fought against this live stuff big time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And right now, Neil's leading the way in the production of the one-on-one matchups.
Well, this way you can overdub your color commentary and talk about
and
stuff
you and I,
throw in interviews.
We've tried that on a couple of other little matches, and I certainly don't think that you and I are professional color commentators, but you know what? It does make that clip, that 20-minute clip or whatever, way more entertaining.
Yeah.
Way more interesting to watch.
Yeah.
I guess if we could get some people educated.
Especially, we're not at a point where people know all the intricacies of arm wrestling.
No, absolutely.
It's basically like moving hockey into the States. We have to educate people on what different rules are and stuff like that. We're just not going to go with any blue dots, I guess.
No, I hope not. So that's number one. And number two, I think the video replay should be left for protests only.
Exactly.
I mean, it worked good at the Worlds in Brazil when Leonard would come backstage if there was a protest. You and I have worked it at the Canadian Nationals, and it worked good. However, I guess I read some articles and where the referees think they can make this better. I don't think they can make it better if they're going to stop every match.
Not if you're going to sit back and actually call a foul that a spot judge wouldn't even see. And I'm beginning to wonder if those elbows are even coming off, because you've got a white pad and you're shooting through with that light.
You know what? I've bitched about phantom elbow calls for years, and you've heard me, and I think we're ruining arm wrestling. So if the referee, sometimes I don't think the referee calls what he sees.
Calls
He
what
or
he
she,
thinks.
they call what they think they see,
Yeah.
which is wrong. I think we need to make some equipment adjustments. It may be as simple as making those pads way softer.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about
Oh,
you need-
those pads
They
were
were-
rock hard.
just like racetracks.
Oh yeah, they were rock
Yeah,
hard.
even the pads that we have here, which are a few years old, I still think are too hard. You and I remember the days of the donuts.
Yeah.
There was forgiveness in those donuts. You and I could move around that pad.
Well, plus, I mean, back then we had a 1-inch
Yeah.
lift. I mean, all I'm looking for is a 1/2-inch lift, a 1/2-inch rim around. So if you want to shoot that video camera across, no problem. And the person lifts their elbow more than a 1/2 inch. I mean, that's where those video cameras could come in handy. However, you're not getting away with 2 video cameras. When we were doing the setup, if a guy just moved his hip to one side of the table, you just blocked off that whole video camera.
Well-
So all of a sudden now your spot judge is completely blind.
Yeah, well, at last year at Brazil, when we got down to the finals, when we were using video replay for protests, I had 6 cameras at one angled at one table from different angles, and Leonard would come backstage, and I'd just start showing him replay. Okay, Scott, show me the overhead. Show me this one. Show me that one, and he would make a determination. And I don't know if it sped up the process or not, but at the time, and you felt and Leonard felt that we were giving the arm wrestler the fairest possible
Yeah,
outcome.
yeah.
Rather than just trusting somebody's memory.
Yeah.
This is what I saw.
Yeah.
Well, here's what actually happened.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Maybe we can convince them to use it for protests only. I'd be in full support of that. But this way, is it because they don't want that second referee at the table?
Yeah, that's what it all comes down to. They don't want him in the way, her in the way of the cameras.
Sit them down.
Yeah, I mean there's ways around that.
I think so too. Sit them down in a small stool, a small chair. The cameras can certainly shoot over them and around them easily. If they're sitting down, they can stand up and help the referee.
If you
if
saw the
needed.
gear that they had there,
Well, I saw the photos and I saw what they showed us.
they had. I mean, for the TV, they had 3 cameras mounted. Plus, they had a boom camera.
Yeah.
And this was a one wicked boom camera.
I saw.
This-
Well, they showed us the boom camera. It
yeah,
looked great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you can shoot around anybody with that.
Absolutely. Okay, so that covers the worlds. I know there was a few issues surrounding Team Canada. I know we can't get to talk to him tonight. He's off working. But Will Sarity made a post regarding no team captain for Team Canada, and I haven't talked to Will, so I didn't really get the whole story. Did you hear anything about it while you were over there?
Well, I know when I was there, they were looking for a team captain, and Clayton Faulkner and somebody else just said, okay, we'll do it. But that
Okay.
was the first day. And then I don't know what happened after that. I know on the 4th day, as far as I know, there wasn't any team captain there.
And on the 4th day, I think Joey Costello stepped up.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't refereeing that
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
I think that's what Will post that. I think I read that
I don't
Joey
know.
stepped up, and he acted as team captain on the.
Well,
on the 4th day.
you have to have a team captain there in case of protest.
Right.
Because, I mean, when you say protest, well, I mean, your team captain's supposed to come up.
He's supposed to follow the protest. Yes.
Well, no, you could actually do it.
Okay.
You can actually do the protest right there without your team captain. But it's a lot better to have a team captain who's knowledgeable about the rules, just so you're not throwing money away. Sometimes people come up. I mean, even with team captains, people come up and throw money away. They argue points that are just stupid.
Okay.
So I mean, but it's important to have a team captain just for people that are going to the Worlds. Maybe they're not that knowledgeable about the rules. They don't know exactly what's going on. And well, actually, starting next year, you got to have a team captain, and that team captain has to go to the referee technical meeting.
Really?
There's going to be a technical meeting which explains how the setup works, how the bullpens work, how the protests work, all that. You got to be there for that, because I mean they just run into problems. People don't know what's going on, so hopefully this will alleviate some of the things.
Interesting. And on that note, we'll take a break and we'll be right back. We're back, still with Rick Pinkney, from head referee from CAWF, president of Nova Scotia Arm Wrestling Association, founder of Nova Scotia Arm Wrestling Association. Okay, that's enough adjectives. Okay, one of the other things I want to talk to you about right now, I allowed myself to get talked out of making a post on the CAWF board that I worded Canadian Nationals, there are changes needed. You and I both remember when the Nationals were pretty well the biggest event in Canada every year. Everyone did all their smaller regional events and their provincials, but when you really want to test yourself, you went to the Canadian Nationals because all the best people showed up.
Everybody was there. Everybody was always there.
Every year. So now, the best tournament in Canada right now is the Mike Gould Classic.
Yeah.
That's not the Canadian Nationals.
Yeah.
So what can we do to bring people back to the Nationals? Now, I've been contacted by arm wrestlers, and you're going to take the hit for this because you're part of the CAWF executive. They don't trust you guys. They don't think you're going in the right direction. What can we do to bring these people back?
I think we need an overhaul of the executive. I'm part of the executive, you know what? And right now, we don't even have a Nationals for next year.
So we have no Nationals for 2014.
At this point in time, we have no Nationals for 2014. And if we don't have a Nationals next year, me included, the whole executive should resign. Because that's an embarrassment. Absolute embarrassment. Changes have to be made. We cannot go on like this. We've been cruising along the last few years. We've been going downhill.
The numbers seem to be dropping.
The numbers are dropping. And nobody seems to want to do anything about it. Anytime you want to make changes, there's always people bucking don't want to make changes. Nobody wants to make a change. They seem to think that let's keep going the same way. We can't keep going the same way. Well, if your ship's sinking, you can't just keep friggin' sailing.
No, yeah, you
better either fix that ship or get the hell out.
Something bigger than an ice cream container to be bailing. Yeah. But we were in Ontario this past year, in Timmins, Ontario, and there was a huge amount of people from Ontario not in attendance. Look, we need those people.
Yeah,
we need those people from Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. And if they're not going to Ontario, they're sure not coming to Halifax. They're sure not going to Manitoba or any place else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got to figure out a way to get all those people back, talk to those people, say, what do you want to come back to the Nationals? What do you need to come back to the Nationals? Money's out of the question. We got too many classes to be putting money.
Well,
to me, that's another thing. We got to start cutting back on the classes.
Can we even overhaul the classes?
They have to be. We don't run all the classes at the Worlds. This is, that's bull. We don't run every disabled class. We don't run every master's class, every grandmaster's class.
We couldn't possibly. As it is, the promoter is probably giving away or throwing away trophies by the dozens.
Nobody wants to go. I mean, we've kind of settled that in a way by, having the same medals. But who wants the same medal every year?
We have no Canadian Nationals for 2014. What changes are we going to have to make it more attractive? Again, as I said, we had a huge contingent of people from Ontario not show up. We had a few more from the Maritimes than I thought were going to be there, which is great. I know Luc Faubert is busting his butt in New Brunswick, and he's not having a whole lot of success in drawing people. So what can we do to draw people? I know Joanna Laura gave up money. Is that the answer?
Could very well be, but not that many people are going to be in that situation to give out money.
No, that's true.
And somehow we got to figure out ways to make it cheaper. We got to have it in a place to make it cheaper. Yeah, it's nice to cross the country, but guess what? What's the sense of going to, out in Manitoba or Alberta if nobody's coming? What's the sense of coming to Halifax? I'd love to have the Nationals down here, but what's the sense of having the Nationals in Halifax if nobody's going to come?
No, you need 200 to 300 entries just to make it feasible.
So what do we have to do? We have to have it in Ontario. We got to go Toronto, Ottawa, someplace that's central. I know I've put this on the board a couple of times. We've been talking about it for probably 15 years.
At least, yeah.
Because, we saw the writing on the wall 15, 20 years ago.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen. I feel bad that that's what's going to happen, but you know what? That's what's going to happen. We have to have this. We got to make it cheaper. We can't have it in place. It's going to charge somebody $200 a night for a hotel room.
No, absolutely. Even if you're splitting the hotel room, $200 a night is pretty expensive.
Yeah, we got to start making this more affordable for people. We just can't keep going on hosting it where you're spending you're dropping $1,000 on your flight. You're dropping another, $300, $400, $500 on your hotel room. You're dropping another couple $100 on your food. You can't expect people to drop 2 G's.
$2,000 weekend.
Yeah, on a weekend.
Yeah, for sure.
Most of the people that are in it, they got families they got to look after, and that. And then, then you want people to go to the Worlds? Really?
Well,
who can afford to go to the Worlds after that?
And now, did I not just read? So, the disabled classes at the World Championships are having their own separate tournament now.
Yeah,
Is that right?
that's. I really feel bad for guys like Tyler.
Tyler Robinson, who just
Man,
had a
silver
great
medalist.
Worlds. Yeah, had a great
silver
Worlds.
medalist. Now, you know what?
Will he even go now?
That's the question. You know, now his worlds are separate from ours. His worlds are going to be in Moscow
Next year.
next year.
So, because here in Canada we have a fairly small disabled team.
Yeah.
So really, are they going to get together and go to Moscow?
That's the question. You know, and even if Tyler wanted to go, you know, and he takes a friend with him or something like that, it's still, you know, it's not the same when you're going one person to a tournament.
Yeah.
And you don't really know anybody, especially when you're going to someplace like Moscow where, you know, I mean, it'll take a couple of years and you'll get to know other people and stuff like that.
But still, you know what? Language is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
And they are disabled. They don't get around as well.
But the thing is, you know what? And I say this to Tyler and everybody else, if you can pull it off, do it. It may take a couple of years, but after a while, you'll get in, you'll get to know a lot of people, and you won't even notice that you're going to be a lot more in the spotlight. You won't just be another class. You know, this will be, you know, the disabled worlds where you are the spotlight.
Right.
You're not going to be just another class, just kind of pushed off to one side of the table. You're going to be part of it.
Okay, absolutely. But let's get back to what we were really addressing is the nationals here in Canada, because it won't matter about disabled or world if we're not having a nationals and we're not putting together a team. So what's the buzz from the executive? Is there any, are they talking to anybody? Is there anybody stepping up willing to host? What's going on? Anything?
I heard possibly BC, that Clayton Faulkner and Dave Hicks are looking at something. But now, I mean, well, first Luc Faubert was going to do it, then Luke said he just can't do it. So now it's moving on, and you know, we got to put a timeline on this. And to me, we got to put this in Toronto. We have to have this. One of the reasons Mike's tournament is successful is because Toronto is easy to get to. It's cheap to get to from anywhere in Canada. Yeah, you may think $500 coming from BC is not cheap, but guess what? It's a lot cheaper than it is flying from BC to Halifax.
Absolutely. Well, it's half the price.
Yeah.
It's half the price. So yeah.
And again, we got to host it in a place, you know, all people want to do is go and arm wrestle. We don't need it in a fancy spot. Let's go put it in some place where it's going to be cheap to run. You know, let's go and just get the best arm wrestlers back out to the nationals again. And that's what we have to do. We've got to get everybody wanting to come back out to the nationals again, where you're going for the competition.
Oh, and do we consider changing up the format? So you and I were both at the AAAs this year, and Karen and Frank Bean won their national championships different than we do. They run on a Friday night and a Saturday. So instead of it taking 4 days,
yeah,
like our format right now is almost a 4-day event.
Yeah.
You're traveling on Friday, you pull Saturday and Sunday, and then you're traveling again on Monday. They're traveling on Friday, you're pulling Friday night, Saturday, and then you're going back home Sunday. And it seems to work out pretty good for them.
We could probably do that if we held it in Toronto.
Okay.
We couldn't do that if we were hosting it, say, in Halifax. These guys from BC would almost have to leave on Thursday.
Right, okay.
It's them leaving at 7 o'clock in the morning. They still may not get here till, 6 o'clock at night.
Well, yeah, 7 o'clock in the morning for them is
11 o'clock here,
and
you're talking 7 hours, 6 hours to get across the country by plane without any stops.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's our biggest problem there. If we had it in Ontario, we could pull one of those things off.
Okay.
But they don't have an AGM or anything like that either.
No, they don't. Well, they don't have. I think theirs was more run as a private company.
Yeah.
As opposed to this the association federation that.
But I think that's the main thing right now. We got to start looking at ways of making it cheaper for the arm wrestler. We got to make this cheaper. There's no ways around it. I mean, and I think that's one of the biggest complaints is just getting too stinking expensive to go to nationals. They said you go to Mike Gould's, you fly into Toronto, bang, you're there a night, maybe 2 nights, you're gone again.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. I mean, Mike's new location for his Mike Gould Classic is right in Toronto. It's only 20 minutes away from the airport. It was great. Now it is a 2-day event now because Mike's grew so big. But it'd be interesting. I mean, I made phone calls to the executive with concerns that arm wrestlers brought to my attention, and I get told that I'm wrong, or that no, Scott, that's not the way it really is. How can I be wrong? I'm telling you what the arm wrestlers are telling me. I'm not just giving you my opinion. But we'd appreciate it if whenever you find something out, let us know. We can let the arm wrestlers out there know again.
You know, as soon as I find out something, you know, I try to be on the message board. I'm not on there every day, or, you know. As soon as I find out something, I'll be on there and let anybody.
And wasn't there talk about there's a new formula or something for someone that wants to host the Nationals where the CAWF splits costs with you or something?
There is, but I've yet to see that posted yet.
Okay, I didn't imagine that though. There was talk about that.
You have to basically pony up I think it was $2,000.
Okay, yeah.
To help cover, and you come up with the venue and the transportation. And
okay,
then the CAWF looks after all the rest of the expenses.
Everything else.
Yeah.
Okay. Be interesting to see where we go, and as soon as we can find out when and where the National is, that'd be great. Listen, Rick, thanks for your time.
No problem, Scott, anytime.
And we'll talk again soon. All right, folks. See you soon. Okay, thanks to Rick Pinkney for sitting down and sharing his thoughts on the 2013 Worlds. And before I leave the subject, there were a couple of other points I wanted to discuss with Rick, but simply ran out of time. Rick tells me there are some new rules that were set in place at this year's Worlds. Change number 1 to the rules: the pullers now only have 30 seconds to report to the table once their name is called. I really don't like this change at all. 1 minute is not that long to wait. I really hope tournament organizers use discretion regarding this change. Okay, and change number 2, 30 seconds to a referee grade. Love it. I've watched the AAA in the U.S. use the 30-second rule very successfully for years. Have even talked with CAWF head referee Rick Pinkney several times about trying it out. Now, this past year, Rick was invited to referee at the AAA Nationals for the very first time and got to see and use this finally. I wasn't surprised to hear that he actually really liked it a lot, and it moved the tournament along. So thanks to Karen Bean for inviting Rick down to referee her Nationals. And finally, change number 3. If both competitors agree, they can start the match in the straps, in a referee's grip, or both. Great news. A new change like this is long overdue. It looks like we may finally be starting to take a few steps in the right direction. Now, if we can only address all the bloody elbow fouls, that would clean arm wrestling up a lot. Elbow fouls, guys, elbow fouls. Okay, next up on the show, many of you may remember the UAC, or the Ultimate Arm Wrestling Championships, from a few years ago. Well, my partner in the UAC, Wayde Graves, has decided he wants to try and bring it back once again. Wayde will be hosting the UAC's return this Saturday, October 5th, at Brewster's Pub in Bedford, Nova Scotia. It will also be a fundraiser for muscular dystrophy. I recently sat down with Wayde and talked about the return of the UAC and his recent trip to Poland at the World Championships. Have a look at that. Hey everybody, Scott McGinnis back here on In Focus. Sitting beside me now is long time. How many years you got in now, Wayde? 11, 12 years?
You know, not quite, about maybe 8, 9.
8, 9 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, Wayde Graves from Bedford, Nova Scotia. Wayde was a member of Team Canada that went to the Worlds this year. How was your experience in Poland?
Poland was fantastic, yeah. It was excellent experience. The tournament was fun. The country was amazing. I probably would have never went to Poland, I don't think. But yeah, I was surprised at how awesome it was, actually. I was kind of expecting it to be a little, I don't know, colder, darker or something, right? Never been there yet, but no, it was beautiful.
So how was the World? You had been to the Worlds before. You had gone to the Worlds in Italy.
Italy, yeah.
So how did this one rate compared to that one?
You know what? The competition's still amazing, so it was the same that way. But the stage and the presentation of it was phenomenal. Yeah.
They did a great job.
Yeah, like I mean, it was. It felt like a, you know, big time, right?
Yeah.
Like just
not like the small little events that we run over here and.
Yeah, just the whole stage, the lights, the whole presentation of it was pretty cool. Yeah.
So that's something you go back and do again?
I'd love to have the opportunity to see a different country again. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And so in a couple of weeks, you're hosting your own tournament. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're doing a UAC in Bedford, and just trying to mix up some weight classes and try to get some different matchups, because in this area, sometimes you pull the same guys all the time.
Yeah, so you're mixing up the weight classes. So what are the weight class is going to be for this event?
We're going to try a 0 to 170, and then 171 to 205.
Right.
And kind of along mixed martial arts weight classes, and then just a 205 and up, and see how that goes.
Okay, so 3 classes right, 3 left.
Yep, pro and amateur.
Pro and amateur, and women's open class?
And 1 women's open. Depending on who shows up, if there's enough competition, would be great. We'll split it into 2 classes somehow, but I think just a 1 for now, and then see how it goes.
Okay, and this is also a benefit tournament?
Yep, we're trying to raise some money for Muscular Dystrophy Association, and they're going to have an auction afterwards, and a 50-50, so hopefully that we can raise a few dollars for them. I know they got some nice stuff geared up for it.
Nice. Okay, and you mentioned this is the UAC, so this is a return for the UAC?
Yeah, well, we kind of talked about getting it going again, so hopefully we'll be able to put together some good matchups here in maybe 2014.
Great.
I'd like to get Bresnan back in action and find an opponent for him, and just keep continuing that with maybe even develop a 205 champion or a 170 champion. I'm not sure yet, but
okay.
Start out locally, and then if we have a champion, then maybe somebody will want to come and be the champion, right? So just try to get some momentum here.
Interesting. Good. Okay, well, good luck next week, and I will be filming it, so you'll be able to check out all the action right here on Armsportvideos. Thanks, Wade. Appreciate your time.
Right on.
Okay, many thanks to Wade Graves for sitting down and talking with us. I sure hope he gets a great turnout for his event. I will be there to capture all the action, so you can check that all out on armsportvideos.com. So feel free to come around and check that out. Again, that's armsportvideos.com. I should have that up in a few weeks. Okay, now, it certainly seems to be an exciting time for arm wrestling right now. The UAL has just opened up its corporate offices in California and have started signing pullers to contracts. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Talk of a TV show from them is really exciting. Can't wait to see what that looks like. Also, the PAL is back, planning to open their own offices in Las Vegas. I've also read that Igor is planning something very big for the PAL, and of course, don't forget the Nemiroff Cup is coming up, I believe, in November. And not to be left out, of course, Neil Pickup continues his Arm Wars Super Series and has just finished up his latest show at the Mr. Olympia Expo with another top-notch lineup. You can always count on Neil for some great matchmaking. Also coming up at the end of October, Travis Bajan's promotion, the NAL, is planning multiple tournaments across North America, all taking place on the same day. That date is October 19th, and for me personally, I will be in attendance at Mayhem in the Mall in Edmonton, Alberta for that event. Can't wait to see how this all unfolds for Travis and the NAL. And of course, not to be left out and still chugging along, Joe Gould's Arm Melter Series continues to offer up top-notch professional arm wrestling. I'm having a hell of a time talking today. Joe's next Arm Melter is the Arm Melter 19, is scheduled for November the 9th at the Loaded Dog Sports Bar in Toronto. Still haven't been to an Arm Melter yet. Hopefully soon, though. Oh, and I forgot to mention when we were doing the rankings, when it comes to the left-hand rankings, what I want to know, and probably everybody else wants to know, are we ever going to get to see Devin versus Denis Saplenkov from Russia? Can anyone make this long-awaited dream matchup happen? Damn, you know what? I sure as hell hope so. Maybe I'll just call Devin myself and see what's up and see what the chances are of getting these two guys together. And maybe we can get some answers about his right hand as well. Yeah, I think I'll try that. And finally today, when I first started the In Focus shows, I didn't really think there was much of a future for the show, and I was unsure of exactly what I wanted to say and where I wanted the show to go. I have always thought that the free flow of information is extremely important. The expression of one's ideas or opinions is something that should not be stifled. Questions should be asked and ultimately answered. The failure to adhere to these philosophies leads to an overall breakdown in communication and trust. Recently, here in Canada, there have been deleted posts on Facebook, deleted posts and a banishment from the message board. Questions still remain posted and unanswered. This is not a good example of ideas and sharing information. I trust we can overcome recent negative events and get back to pushing arm wrestling ever forward. Those are my thoughts. I certainly welcome yours. Feel free to contact us here or contact me at armsportvideos@hotmail.com. I certainly will put up your thoughts and ideas on any subject at all. And that's it for today. I'm Scott McGinnis from Armsport Videos. I'll see you next time, and I'm out.